Mike, you ready? All right. Let's go.
Hello, Pat.
Hello, sir.
Mike, you ready? All right. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Tonight is the January 13th, 2022 Town Board Work Session. Please rise for the pledge. My pledge of allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So I don't usually have announcements for the workshop. The only announcement I have is Happy New Year to everybody. And as everybody knows, Councilman Cassidy is now the new town clerk. And there is a vacancy on the town board, as I've been mentioning the last several meetings. If anybody is interested in sitting on the town board to be interviewed, we are accepting applications through the end of February. Application meaning a letter of interest or a resume. Just please get it over to my office by email, or you could drop it off, what have you, any which way you can. But we will be accepting applications or letters of interest until the end of February. Then the town board will be hopefully making a decision quickly after that. And tonight we do have 3 items on the agenda for discussion, but the second one, Altice cable presentation, they did contact me this afternoon stipulating that they couldn't come. They will be here for the January 27 town board meeting, which is in 2 weeks. And I think that's more appropriate because that is when the public can make comments and they can ask questions, all the questions they want to, for Altice. So with that, our first item of discussion tonight is with our Economic Development Director, Pat Manning. Thanks for joining us, Pat.
Thank you, Supervisor. Thank you.
We've been very busy. There's a lot of work with our Economic Development Director, our Economic Development Committee. We're starting to have meetings again, engage with one another again. COVID put us back, but we are back on track, and we have a lot of exciting stuff going on. So I'll turn it over to Patrick.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Supervisor, and thank you to the council and to the town of East Fishkill. You know, I've been here for, my family's been here for 97 years, so we've seen a lot of change. But I think what we're seeing right now with this town board, with the supervisor, your vision, I think the next generation is going to see this as a great place to live as well, and you're making sure of that. So I appreciate the honor to be able to be the Economic Development Director and report to you for the first time. And there's a lot of exciting things, and I guess I'll direct it to the audience out there. There are a lot of exciting things that are happening in the town, some of which are in early stages in economic development, some that we can't talk about right now. So for Q1, we wanted to focus on something that's very important to many folks here in the town of East Fishkill, especially those with families. A lot of people don't realize the town of East Fishkill is a town that's getting younger, and there's a lot of families moving in, and they love the town for all its assets, but they love to see a reimagined Hopewell Junction hamlet, and would like to talk about that tonight and some of the initiatives we'd like to take that will not only help the business owners and the residents of the town, but the town itself. So there are 3 things I'd like to address tonight in reimagining the historic Hopewell Junction hamlet. You see, I don't say historic Hopewell hamlet because a lot of people don't realize the Hopewell hamlet's actually down by the Dutch Reformed Church. The Hopewell Junction hamlet is just that, right here in the junction with amazing rich history that we have and really made East Fishkill what it is. And we can capitalize on that. And, you know, I was here once before as part of the Rail Trail Committee when we were talking about the Empire Trail connecting with the Dutchess County Rail Trail and the potential of seeing almost 100,000 people coming past our town, not realizing the riches that we have here. That 100,000 is now about 125, now is looking at maybe 200,000. We saw that with the walkway over the Hudson, where they were off by hundreds of thousands of people when it finally opened. So what we should do, both for the town and for the opportunity that the rail trail provides, is to potentially create a pedestrian-friendly Main Street. And I think that the town board has been right on point, along working obviously with the planning and zoning boards, and on creating a zoning overlay to allow for buildings to get taller within the Hopewell Junction hamlet, and also for their footprint to get wider if need be, but to imagine and envision something better. That was the perfect foundation to allow people to say, okay, we can do something here in Hopewell. It doesn't have to look the way it looks. Now, I'm proud of my town, but I also know some people yearn for Mayberry, some yearn for Stars Hollow, whatever the case may be. They maybe want something that's a little more pedestrian friendly. Increase value to the property owners. Obviously, by the proactive moves by the town board, that is allowing for the property owners to have increased value when they add to the improvements to their buildings. Of course, that means higher ratables for the town as well. Everybody wins. And then provide easier access to and from the Empire Rail Trail in Old Hopewell Junction and New Hopewell Junction. Old Hopewell Junction is really the 376 strip that we know, that was really the heart of the town, and then Oak and Orchard and like that. And then New Hopewell Junction, which came through Route 82. So Q1, what do we want to do? Well, I'd like to see a few things, and I've been talking to the board behind the scenes, and we really wanted to workshop it, but name Route 82 what it is. Main Street. It's the Main Street. It's the heart of our hamlet. And I will tell you, there's psychological changes that we can make that will cost absolutely no money and will make a dramatic shift in the way we think about our historic hamlet. And one of them is renaming or naming correctly historic means of access. To that end, Route 82, after talking to the town historian and to the president of the East Fishkill Historical Society and the highway superintendent, Route 82 has never been known as anything but Route 82. So, having a business and making changes on the Route 82 business corridor versus making changes and improving Main Street, it makes a dramatic shift in people's thinking. And it's kind of the chicken and the egg. We can make some changes to say we're serious, and then then the residents want more, and the town businesses are willing to do more. Redesign signage to reflect the unique gift that we have. Hopewell Junction. Let's make sure people realize they don't live in the town of Hopewell Junction, but the town of East Fishkill, and we have this historic hamlet with such rich history called Hopewell Junction, and then launch the Depot Park project linking the rail trail with the hamlet. So let's reimagine Hopewell Junction. This is going on in the town of Poughkeepsie as we speak. A line of people, a waiting list of people waiting to move into the apartments, move into the businesses. They're about to double the size of that whole area around near Adams Farraker Farms. And to that end, you don't have to tell us that, you can't have a business district that looks warm and welcoming and pedestrian friendly because that's in the past, and we can only see that in like the Village of Fishkill, the Village of Wappingers Falls. We're seeing it redesigned and reimagined today. So why don't we look to do some of those things? And that's why it's been so nice to be working with the town engineer and the town planner and the highway superintendent, along with the town supervisor, who's my direct contact, and my liaison with for economic development with the town board, Councilman Marinero, to try to figure out what do we want to see, especially if there is going to be improvements with the DOT, the roundabout project. We need not to wait to hear the answer on that, but we also need to move to make the area the way we want if and when that project happens, because something's going to happen there. Hopefully, knock on wood, we're going to hear soon about that. But until then, we need to make some improvements in order for people to enjoy, and not only just stop to do their dry cleaning and get their mail, but stop and go to a cafe, be able to take their kids for ice cream, sit on a park bench and enjoy. So, Main Street. Let us re-envision Main Street. Let us name it Main Street. Why shouldn't we? It doesn't, again, cost us any money. it'll set the stage. So let's take from Trinca Lane, where the blue starts there by Hopewell Hot Bagels, all the way down to, I propose, down to where Beekman Road hits Route 82, and make that strip Main Street. And because that is really the heart of where everything was going on in the Hopewell Junction hamlet, at least we got to take in Turner Street there. And from there, we rename Main Street and then we start moving. Similar to what we saw, you know, not exactly the same, but similar to changing Limekiln to I Park Boulevard. It sets the stage of what is to come.
Give an identity to the area.
Absolutely. And to that, I sat with the historians of the town and the highway department, and with the Hopewell Depot Committee, the railroad depot, and said, what symbol would be perfect to really brand Hopewell Junction? What engine would we have seen coming multiple times a day through there, bringing goods, bringing service, bringing people, bringing agriculture, you know, Borden's Dairy, what have you. And it was that, and that was picked. And that is what I would like to see for new signage within this Hopewell Junction hamlet. Now, the highway superintendent, and I'd like to say a special thank you to both Jessica in the highway department and to Ron Veach for really going above and beyond to allocate money, so we didn't have to ask for any money, to redo the signs, so again, psychologically, people see that changes are happening and there is a historic district. Here's what we propose. We'd like to move quickly on it. Now, let's look at the screen. We have also choices of brown, which are historic colors, brown both white on brown, and brown on white. So I asked the town board to really tell us, what do you like? What do you think is attractive? But either way, the emblem, both large and small, on signage throughout the park, throughout the town, in this whole Hopewell Junction hamlet, I should say, will be the engine, and we will be obviously explaining how that's important. Lastly, the aerial view here you see is the proposed depot park. And a big thank you goes out to Michael O'Brien, now the grants administrator, for actually getting this pocket park grant from Dutchess County. We have, as I said in the beginning, hundreds of thousands of people potentially coming through Hopewell Junction right at the depot and going by because they have no idea what we have just a few feet away. If you look at the Empire Rail Trail from New York City to Buffalo, or I should say to Albany, to Buffalo to Montreal, there are very few municipalities taking advantage of the financial asset, which is the rail trail. My job is not to worry about them. My job is to make sure that people don't pass Hopewell Junction on their way from New York City in droves and just check out the walkway over the Hudson in the city of Poughkeepsie and then stay and shop and dine in New Paltz. They need to stay, shop, dine, spend their money, and then say, thanks for a great trip, and then comment how cool Hopewell Junction is. You know, come for the depot, stay for dinner. Leave your sales tax dollars here. So to that end, we want to be able to, and this part of this comes long before I was appointed, is to work to ascertain the licensing, and I might say maybe the proper way, Mr. Wood, but the licensing of a piece of property that the MTA owns that is not being used right now by the county for parking over at the rail trail, to be able to clean that up. That would be where you see Route 376 there. That'll be the last time I call it 376. Its historic name is actually South Avenue, and that's what we call South Avenue in Old Hopewell Hamlet, that bring people from the red line, which is up on top there, which is the depot, all the way down to where the billboard is on South Avenue, where it takes the first sharp turn, actually dogleg up and go through the old Hopewell Hamlet all the way to the place where Empire, where Mario's is, where Frankie's is. to get them safe, because right now, bicyclists, young and old, are going down Railroad Avenue, which is the entrance to the depot, for those who don't know. They hit the corner of Bridge Street and South Avenue by Geek's Place. They start to try to figure out if there's anything here. They think it's dangerous, they go home. Some are bicycling in the middle of the road, which is their right in New York, but that's probably not the safest thing, just because it's right. So let's do something that makes sense. Hey, look at this. On the left are the pictures of where we now have access from the depot all the way to the end where I was telling you, and what could be imagined here. Big thanks to town planner Michelle Robbins for this. But again, potential of food trucks, pop-up tents, farmers markets that can happen in the existing area right now. Going down, we want to take a curve to hug Railroad Avenue from the depot. And you can see on the right, these are rail trails that already exist. Dual use of both for bicyclists and for runners and walkers. So no one feels like they have to worry about getting run over. We can do different things like colors and emblems and colored blacktop. And then as we, by the billboards that face Geek's Place, we start to swing into the MTA property. And then we move through there to the billboard, and look at the thing on the right. You can have colored blacktop. We can have fun with this. We can have landscaping. And then we can hug, like most of the Empire Trail, along the rail tracks of the Beacon Line that's not used anymore, but they're not abandoned. They're there, but we have the path to be able to clean up and decorate with benches and bicycle racks and the like. When we get over here, when we're dog legging by Royal Karting's property and that billboard, that's where you can start to do some attractive bump outs and things like that. But first and foremost, we want to make it safe to get not only to the businesses here, but also make sure that the bicyclists are safe to get to the businesses. We want them to shop and dine and what have you, but we got to get them there safe as well. Imagine stuff like this. Well, guess what? The supervisor said we need a bike shop. So we're going to get a bike shop here. We're working on that right now. There are bike shops who want to come here, and now we've connected them with owners of buildings that we already have here. So people will now go, oh, get a bike shop. I can rent a bike? Oh, I'm going to come to Hopewell. How about something like this? Again, in the town of Poughkeepsie being built. Does that look familiar? Does that look like old Hopewell? This is what we can do for our community. So really, action steps, it's really, if the board would take the initiative to work with town council and rename Main Street, I would certainly appreciate it, along with the Economic Development Committee. And the other things are I'm going to be able to poll and talk to the town board members on their choice of color for the historic signs, but we're going to be able to move on that. But everything I just brought up, from the park to the signs, everything is already covered by grants or allocated money already because of the diligence of people who work in the town. Thank you very much for the presentation. I appreciate it. And if you have any questions, town council folks.
Oh, thank you, Patrick. Excellent presentation.
Yeah.
It's what we've been discussing, been trying to put out there for many, many years. It's been a tough road to try to get different thinkings, different philosophies of what should happen in our hamlet. And it is a work in progress, but we have a tremendous amount of potential. People say all the time, what can we do for our local businesses? Oh, you only care about the larger businesses coming here. Absolutely not. How do we try to bring more businesses to our current local businesses? Different pathways, take advantage of the rail trail, make it more pedestrian friendly. All those things, everything in your presentation, all the things that we must do.
Mm-hmm. And
Excellent.
you've set the stage for me to do what I need to do, and I appreciate that. But I know where your heart is on this. And again, in the chicken and the egg, what happens if we start to set the stage like this? People with money will want to come in. They'll want to say, I want to make the improvements. So even if the old guard doesn't on their buildings, the new guard will. And I know we've also talked to local financial institution,
Yes.
Tompkins Mahopac Bank. They want to be in on this as a hometown bank to say, what can we do to make affordable loans available for people who want to retrofit their buildings to put new facades on. And there's, today I met with the Rotary, the members of the Rotary, like, let's start a business alliance, the Main Street Business Alliance, have Christmas in Main Street, or, on Main Street, and things like that. But it's hard to do Christmas on the Route 82 business corridor. And things like that are starting to pop up. There's a lot of excitement, just need to pull the trigger.
Excellent.
Well, this is a start, and thank you for all the hard work that you've done with this. We've talked in the past, and I love the idea, changing Route 82 to Main Street. And I've been on the board for 8 years now, and we've been talking about this for 8 years. It's nice to actually see something start to move. So you can pick any one of those signs. I think they're all great, any of the colors. So it's great. Let's get going. I'm all for it.
Thank you for your communication through this whole thing. You had a little video chat with me, and we went through all these plans, and I loved it. I love the fact that we decided to keep traffic coming along that 376 bend there, take advantage of all that real estate that's so important. And I can see that being like almost what Highland has on the other side of the bridge, where you cross over there, you have like all these little shops and carts, and people just kind of gather, and it'll be a good spot for sure.
I agree. Thank you, Councilman. Thank you for being so open with your ideas. Really appreciate it.
So thanks, Pat. Great presentation, and we spoke quite a bit about these projects, and I appreciate what you presented tonight. I also want to remind the board and the rest of the community that in order for this to happen, we're also working on infrastructures for those areas, which is very, very needed in order for this to take place. We need to bring sewer and water over there in those areas in order for people to come in and do business in the community. The town supervisor has initiated some discussion about this, and we could change the signs, and it's a great idea. But the real change is not gonna happen unless we really provide those other two things, which is sewer and water. It's a beautiful area. We're gonna work very diligently on this, and I think soon we might be able to see some good changes in the area over there.
Absolutely. And you have certainly made it clear to me, and I take that seriously, Councilman. So thank you. Thank you for keeping me on track on that.
And once we get the final notification from New York State Department of Transportation about the final plan for the bridge, that will be another wonderful project to remove that bridge, go to at grade level. You showed many examples of possibilities, what we could do there. It's gonna happen no matter what. It's happening, and we have to embrace it and do what's best for all the businesses, the property owners, and our residents. So, agreed, great job.
Without a doubt, the business community and the private will respond to these projects positively and invest if everything is laid out. We've done it in High Park and on Route 52. If it's ready to go, people will come in and do business in the community. This is the other side of the coin. This is very important, something that we have started a few years back with the zone changing, but yeah, we're on track.
Yes, we are.
After we vote on the name change, I wonder if we can contact the map agencies like Google, MapQuest, all that, have them change it to Main Street. I think Fishkill does that, right?
Yes.
Can't see why not.
To change the name, you have to ask DOT for permission, so we need a resolution of the board to authorize that.
Yeah.
And I assume you want to make permission for a highway work permit for signage on both ends.
Yes.
Because you probably want to put welcome to the
Yes.
hamlet of Hopewell Junction, town of East Fishkill,
Yes.
or something.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. There was one sign I didn't put in there because we were still working through it, but yes, signs in all 4 areas welcoming them to the historic hamlet. So thank you. You're right.
Almost like those blue signs that the town of Wappinger has in each hamlet.
Absolutely. And your connection, allowing me to speak to county legislator, who obviously initiated that, was very important and welcome. So thank you very much.
Thank you for reaching out.
We have a great relationship with our neighboring towns and other towns throughout the county, so it's great to get good ideas also from them.
Absolutely. No, and I say County Legislator Cavazzini.
Yeah.
So folks know that, there's a lot of paying it forward, both East Fishkill to Wappingers, Wappingers, East Fishkill, and of course Fishkill. And it's really nice to see.
And you briefly mentioned we're working with Tompkins Mayapack Bank. They're going to be doing a tailor-made loan for all our local businesses here who are looking to renovate their properties and perhaps take advantage of the zoning that the town board passed several years ago, allowing for apartments above their commercial space. So that's gonna transform the whole center. Everybody always makes negative comments, I hate to say that, but about our hamlet, the way it looks, it's that 60s, 70s look where the parking lots are in front of the buildings and you don't have that hometown feel. Well, we can do it. We could rebuild just like town of Poughkeepsie did. So that's our goal and we're gonna try to do it.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Any other comments? All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Lots of great things happening. Okay, number 2, I said Altice, they will be here on January 27th, right? That's the right date, January 27th, here at our voting meeting to give a presentation about a project that they're doing about their fiber to home project. And if anybody wants to come out to ask questions about that or anything else on your mind about Altice, please come to that meeting. I'd love for those representatives to hear from our residents as they're always hearing from this board, our complaints and whatnot, but.
I think they believe that we're making things up sometimes with all the complaints that we send over to them.
Yeah, the representative gave me a little hard time about giving a presentation to the public, but I said there will be no work done in town unless you come and give a presentation, so. He's gonna be here. Number 3, a town property discussion. We do have our town property across the street. We purchased that several years ago for several different reasons. It was approximately 130 acres?
On that order, yes.
On something like that. We developed our Cannon well fields on that site. We also did sell off a piece where the Hopewell Muse is, and that was to settle a legal, potential legal battle that the town was looking at, that diffused that. And also, we are carving off a piece right across from Town Hall here for a future Veterans Memorial Park, which we're in the process right now of planning. We have our Veterans Council, Councilman Tom Franco leads that, and we are actually meeting with our architectural firm that the town board approved several months ago, next week, next Wednesday night. And that's very exciting stuff. That property has been proven to be an excellent purchase for the town. And I actually have to give credit to our town engineer for that. He had the vision to buy that several years ago when I was on the town board, and Supervisor Hickman, when that was brought up, and should we buy that? It was a failed development, correct?
Well, I never really got going. The market dipped.
The market dropped and the
Developer was
property
looking to leave town.
went in foreclosure, and the town saw an opportunity, and it was a wonderful opportunity. It's really panned out for us. So we have really reached our goals of what we need over there. We do have an excess piece that goes in the back. There's a creek that runs through it. On the other side of the creek, there's about 65 acres. Probably 35 of those 65 are usable. And we will keep approximately 15 acres on this side of the creek that borders 376 in front of Town Hall here for future use. Who knows? We never know what could be in the future. But that back piece, potentially, I want to see what the town board thinks about. There's a lot of possibilities we could do with that piece. And get your thoughts. Perhaps we could sell off a portion of it, see what maybe we could go out for an RFP, see what anybody wants to do with that. and see if the town can recoup some of the money that we spent on the property and pay back that debt. Any thoughts, any
Oh, yeah,
comments?
well, I think it's a great idea. It depends what comes in though, and what we want to see there.
I guess
Senior
that's the
housing,
idea, right?
homes.
Who knows?
Nothing we could really lose but putting out for an RFP, right?
Right.
So, see if people are interested in the property.
That can't hurt. What would be the process at that point then?
Sure, well, what we would envision is that we would define the piece and the availability of water or sewer from certain points, which would be a cost of the development. And then we would put that together and put out a request for creative proposals for development of the site with whatever, and I assume it'd be housing, residential opportunity, townhouses or single-family homes or a creative community. We could put that in the request for proposals. The town board would then receive them and you can discuss them. You're not bound to accept any of them. It's just if someone wants to make that proposal. And then if there's one that you do settle on, you can then proceed into negotiating with that person for the sale of it. There are other steps we have to take when we get to that point. Town board would have to declare the piece surplus of no longer of use for the town and go on from there. So that's basically generically how the process would be.
Okay, well, we definitely have the need for more senior housing, we know that.
Absolutely.
So I think perhaps we could throw that into the verbiage for the RFP.
Well, perhaps what we could do is have the town planner and engineer and myself, we could sit down and come up with a draft for the council to review, and then if you're comfortable with it, you could authorize it at a future board meeting to advertise for proposals based on that.
Excellent.
So just to reiterate what you said before, that portion of that property is actually, it's almost separated from this side because of that
Right.
creek. So it really is a separate property itself. It wouldn't go well with, whatever's happening on this side because of that natural barrier.
Correct.
So it would make sense. I mean, the entrance to that wouldn't even be from this side of the,
Yeah, there's a couple access points. There's an access point on the other side of the creek over here. They could perhaps put a bridge. There's
Right.
lots of different, the pieces, it's an interesting piece.
right.
35 acres, you said?
35 acres is usable.
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 Yeah. It's about 65 acres.
I think at one time, Scott, we were thinking about even, there was a parcel that we could access the Trinket Lane in the back over there, right? You had mentioned at one time to access that.
Yeah, the problem is wetlands off Trinket. That's
Oh,
the
yeah?
problem with that location.
Wetlands is always a problem.
There used to be a ball field, what was it?
It was,
Kiwanis.
the Kiwanis Club, right?
And right, there was a road and a ball field, the backstop's still there, now it's all wetland.
Wow. So as time goes, we see how nature takes back what it wants, right? But yeah, I think that's a great idea. We should perhaps have the engineer do some
And probably the
preliminary
planner,
mapping.
I would think
Yes.
you'd want to engage a
Yeah, talk to
planner
Michelle.
Absolutely.
to decide what type
Absolutely.
of housing stock, Are we talking rental or sale? I didn't,
I think the town, I don't want to speak for the rest of the board, but I think everybody's always comfortable with sale, not rentals,
Yeah, sale, and as of right now, I mean, just thinking off the top of my head, seniors, I'm thinking of mainly.
Yeah,
We can do some
definitely
sort of senior housing. We've been talking
high
about it
priority.
for the longest time. We need to step up, and this might
Right.
be a perfect spot, depending on what we get.
That senior
RFP.
housing off of 82, hopefully that will start as well soon, that construction. Have they mentioned about when to break ground on that project yet? Not yet.
They just gotten a one-year extension. They're working through some issues with DEC
Oh.
for the wetlands.
Yeah, nothing's easy.
No, we don't.
Nothing's easy, especially to do business in New York State, unfortunately. But I think that's a real gem we have across the street, and we still do owe money on that property, correct, Mark?
Yeah, a little under 700,000.
So we would be able to pay that off, and the town basically has very little townwide debt, so that would even give us less.
I mean, it's a great time to sell property.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're,
Use kind of like older senior homes and mix it up with something else, it would be something that probably would fit that property over there. But definitely we need to take care of the over 50s.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every time you talk to people, they would like to move into this kind of
Absolutely.
properties.
Where they don't have to maintain it as
Yeah.
much.
That's what we usually hear people ask us.
Right,
when
where is that? Where can we find it? Yeah.
They want to live in
Wanna
the
s-
community, but they want somebody else to take care of,
And scale down.
right,
Right.
without a doubt.
Okay, I think we have enough ideas where we could put together a nice RFP then. All right, wonderful. And okay, with that, that's all we have for this evening. Our next town board meeting is January 27th, right here at Town Hall at 7 PM. Do I have a motion to close the work session?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.